last week we talked about mountains. We talked about how mountains are things that, like maybe a mountain for you is like something that you know that the Lord has impressed on your heart, or you've seen it in His Word, and it seems impossible to overcome. Okay? And so last week we talked about Psalm 121, and David looked up into the mountains and was like, man, where's my help going to come from? Oh, my help comes from the Lord. And so last week what we talked about is like, hey, what are the mountains in your life? Like where are areas in your life where you need help? And so let's cry out to God. Let's write those down. So if you have the same notebook, what I'd like for you to do is turn to that page to remind yourself of what your mountains were. And if you weren't here last week, maybe jot down. And if you need to use code because you're right next to each other, I get it. But you know what it means. So jot those things down. That the areas in your life where you know the Lord saying, hey, I want to move that. Hey, I don't want that there. And where that seems impossible. Does that make sense? All right. Can you turn on some some instrumental music? We're going to take about 3 minutes. And so what I want you to do is, if you have it written down, your mountains, write those down. If you have, hey, maybe take some inventory. Like, hey, where am I with these things this week? For the next 3 minutes, we're going to do that. If you were here last week and you heard we talked about mountains, does anyone have a testimony in here of something that the Lord showed them that night, or maybe had been saying it, but then you said yes to Jesus leading you over that mountain or through that mountain or to overcome whatever the Lord said? Anybody got a testimony? You have a testimony? Did I see a hand over here too? Or Cheyenne, you were fixing your hand? Gotcha. Cool. Don't do that again, or I'll call it. Yeah. I'm only joking. All right.
So I lately have been having problems with my mom. Like, I know she loves me and I know she's always there for me. She the night, last Wednesday night, the night I got in the car, she was in a better mood, and I didn't know why, but I felt like this was like God telling me like, hey, things are gonna get better, you know, like it's just a phase, it's fine. And lately she's actually been like happier with me, and I don't, like, usually I'm in my room thinking like, what did I do like to ever like make her not, you know, want to show me that she loves me. And lately she's been doing better about it, and so we're gonna start going to therapy, and I think that's God's way of like, yep, this is getting fixed, you know.
Super cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right, anybody else? All right, sweet. So here's what we're gonna do. If you have a blue Bible, you're gonna turn to page 480. If you don't have a blue Bible, you're looking for Matthew 17. And it's going to start in verse 14. But you guys are going to read that in your small groups together. I just want to read a few verses and then give you some context. And then because we're somewhat, because of where we are in the night, we're just going to kind of go a little bit quicker so we can get into our small groups. So if you're at 17:19, I'm going to tell you what just happened. You're going to read it in your small groups, okay? There's a man, he has a son, he has a demon. The man went to the disciples and said, hey, can you take care of this problem? The disciples tried and they failed. And then the man brings his son to Jesus and says, hey, can you cast out this demon? Jesus is somewhat, not frustrated, but just kind of like, dude, like seriously, like I'm about to go to the cross. Like I'm leaving you guys. I told you have the power to cast out demons, and still we're here. And so then he casts out the demon leaves, and then the disciples come to him in verse 19, and he says this, then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, why could we not cast it out? He said to them, because of your little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the grain of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will be moved. And nothing will be impossible for you. So, is Jesus talking about literal mountains here, you think? Anybody? No? Yes? Has anyone prayed to see a mountain move? I have. I can say that I have. It did not happen. Jesus is talking in language that gives us a picture. It's kind of like when people give an illustration, right? So what they thought about in the ancient world, what they thought was that mountains, as big as they were and as wide as they were that deep because they actually had roots. So to say to a mountain, be moved, they thought that was impossible. And so that's why he says nothing is impossible with God, right? That's what he says after the fact. So when they saw a mountain, but they saw roots that went down. It kind of looks like a jellyfish, but it's a mountain, okay? Because it has a snow cap there at the top. All right, so I have a testimony from last week. I shared with you guys about caffeine and being kind of on caffeine to do all these things. And what I did is my mountain was caffeine, and the Lord kept saying, hey, you need to ease off that, you need to ease off that, you need to ease off that, like stop. So what I saw right here, I should know how to spell this now, because I've spelled it a lot. All right, caffeine. All right, but I was taking a lot of it, and I was just all jacked up on Mountain Dew, and because I had so many things to do. So I don't know about you, but I think you probably do the same thing. Do you justify your mountains? If you think about it, you justify them. So I said, well, I'm a dad. Well, I've got to wake up and do my quiet time with Jesus. Well, I got to go work out. Well, I got to stay up late because I want to talk to my wife. And I got to put my kids down. I got to do all these things. And so I justified my abuse of caffeine. But, and why I'm sharing this with you is because I have had victory over that mountain. And the other thing is this, that what has been revealed on the other side of the mountain is something that I didn't even see. And that's what I want you guys to realize tonight. Whatever the Lord is asking you to say, hey, this is that mountain. Hey, it can be cast off. It can be thrown into the sea. It can be moved. I can move you through that. Whatever the Lord is saying, he's doing that not only because about that thing, but when you get to the other side, you're going to see what's actually at the root. And what was at the root of my mountain, root, it's awesome how Jesus uses picture. What was at the root of my mountain, which I thought the Lord had delivered me of. Performance is the idea that, and he has, but there's layers. Performance is the idea that if I do these things right here, if I do these things, I can get favor with God. If I don't do all these things right here, then I don't have favor with God. But if I do them, I'm good. All right? That's what performance is. If I do these things and I don't do those things. And so what was at the root, what caffeine, my mountain, what was at the root was performance. And how that plays out is I thought that if I didn't do this, I would have told you if I said this, because I said it to you, if I would have said this with my mouth, I would have been like, that's a lie. But I didn't have clarity on this till the other side of the mountain. All right, and what I would have told you, that's crazy, is, hey, Seth, if you don't wake up at 4 a.m. every single day and spend an hour with the Lord, then you're going to lose favor with him. That's the lie that I believed. And it changed, the time changed, like it's not 4 a.m., but you get the point, like, that was the lie that I believed. And what I never saw. And what I want to encourage you guys, and as we head into small group here in the next 2 minutes, as you read this story, as you read the questions, as you talk to each other about your mountains, is it's not just about the mountain. It's about what's underneath it for you. And that's the freedom that Jesus wants you to walk in. There's freedom on the other side. And all he's asking you to do, he's not asking you to scale the mountain, he's asking you to take the first step. And if you want to know what the first step is, he will tell you. Because he's good. All right? Sweet. Now we're going to break into small groups. All right.